All right. Welcome back, everyone, to another video. Glad to have you here. Hope y'all are doing well. This is episode 203. All right. So we're going to do a video called 9 Things Americans Do That Brits Don't. Let's see.
Hello, I'm Lawrence and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to the things we do as people. It turns out that there are just things that people in one country do that the people in the other country do not do, and today we're going to take a look at 9 things that Americans do that Brits don't, and take that title with a grain of salt, okay? It's very much a generalisation. Of course, many of the things on this list probably are practiced by some people, some pedants over in Britain. I said pedants, not peasants. But for the most part, on the whole, generally speaking, how many other ways can you say that? Americans do these things more than Brits. Now, if I'd have done this list maybe 12 years ago before I moved to the United States, there are some things I would have included that have since caught on in Britain. So, you know, baby showering or queuing up for the Black Friday sales or getting a coffee to go. So since there's more of a level playing field in regard to those things, I'm just going to leave them off the list. And given that we're all presently trapped in our bunkers, even the ones that did make it onto the list probably shouldn't temporarily, including this. Smiling at strangers, which I suppose is what I'm doing to you right now, so I'm a hypocrite in a way. And you know what, I think when I first encountered this is when you're walking along, say, a footpath, or you're in a parkway, and someone you've never met, maybe they've got a dog, they just look at you and smile. It sounds creepy when I put it like that. And
All right. I'm guilty of doing this.
Yeah, I mean, I do it because I feel like I have to, not because I want to.
I kind of feel that way too. Yeah. But then I don't know. Then I don't want to feel like a dick if I don't.
Well, I was also told in high school that I look intimidating, but really it was because I had a resting bitch face. It's not funny.
No, you.
But really, I'm just like, okay, what?
Why is it not funny?
It's not funny. I didn't think it was funny.
I don't think you have an RBF.
Thank you.
I don't think you're intimidating either.
I know I'm not intimidating at all. Look at me. I got noodle arms. What am I gonna do?
at first it was, I thought I was going to get mugged, right? British people value their personal space, right? Don't enter that zone. And so whenever that happened, it was a little off-putting. But I got used to it when I realised that Americans are just really friendly, and this is a good thing, right? And so I not only came to embrace this, but I started doing it myself, and people got a bit creeped out by the British teeth. I can't help that. It's just something I'm born with, and so you're going to have to accept it from now on. I must say, though, that during this sort of weird situation we find ourselves in, if anybody smiled at me while I was going out to take the trash out,
right,
I'd run for the hills. We don't have hills in Chicago, so I'd be lost. Similarly, which is a word I had to say about 10 times before I got right, Americans might greet you not only with a smile, but by saying, "How are you?" or "What's up?" And these don't mean, are you okay or anything like that. It just means hello, right? And it's, in a way, it's sort of similar to how we Brits say, "All right." And we're not asking if you're okay, we're simply saying hello. So in many ways there are similarities between the two. I don't really know why that is. Are we just trying to...
So when we start this podcast, or not even pod, whatever the we're doing, this video, when we say hello, hey, are people from the UK like, why are you saying hi?
I mean, they probably think it, but I don't think it's that big of a deal.
I didn't realize that was such a American thing to do.
Well, I guess because we could, if we were saying it like how they would, maybe we'd just be like, all right, so today, like, we just start like that. Instead of
you
like,
always do your little...
all right. Yeah.
Soften and euphemize the word hello in the same way that we would with death or going to the toilet. It's really odd when you think about it, but we both do it. Should I start my videos with, all right, I'm Lawrence, and no, I won't do that. What I will do is go on to our next entry. Yes, flags. I did talk about this in a video just recently that, American families and houses and things like that are very prone to having the flag flying outside. And I found that it really doesn't matter which party you vote for or anything like that. People will still fly the flags regardless of that, particularly on July the 4th. But you will see it at all times of year on numerous houses. And that's not to say that we don't fly the flag in Britain, but we usually reserve that for very special occasions like football matches, which are very special occasions these days. There's just sort of, maybe there's more pride in the flag here, or it symbolizes so much more, and therefore it gets used. And when I say it symbolizes so much more, I mean, it really does. You've got the 50 stars representing each of the 50 states, and then you've got the 13 stripes representing each of the original 13 colonies. And so it's symbolic in many ways, and, it's part of the lexicon even. You've got words like Old Glory, Stars and Stripes.
Yeah, he's not wrong. I feel like we've said this many times, but yeah, there's people who are just have way too much patriotism here. They'll shove it down your throat as if you're not in America. Like, we get it, you're American.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Texas does it the most. Texas does it with their state flag.
Yeah, there's
so
Texas
fucking
pride
proud.
in Texas. That's right.
Too much pride.
Shapes and things like that. And so it's a very pervasive part of American culture. Yes, date formats. Again, I've spoken about this before on the channel, but it's very much worthy of inclusion because when I first moved to the United States, it was very hard for me to get out of my head the British way of writing the date, which is to put the day first, the month second, and then the year. So it's sort of in order of unit, right? The smallest entity, the day, the second smallest, and then the third smallest, the year. Or is it to the largest? It's so hard to word that correctly without confusing yourself. I'm not a mathematician, and that was evident in my early days of trying to get my head around the American date format. It's not hard. I mean, you obviously just switch the day and the month around, but it's that thing you've known all your life. You're having to unlearn what you'd already learned. And eventually, working in an office every day for 5 years, the American way of doing things really did sort of cement itself in my head.
I think so too.
And I came good on that front. And I think now if I were to move back to Britain, it'd be the other problem. And I'd have a hard time adapting. And if I tell everybody that, my birthday is 11/18/1981, they'll think I invented 6 more months. And, will kick me out of the country again for forgery. That's not what that means. Falsehoods, just general falsehoods. Oh, and while I'm on the subject of birthdays, that brings me on to our next entry. Tailgating was such an alien concept to me when I first moved to America, and in many ways it still is, and that's mainly because I don't own a truck or go to sports events, because that's what happens. When I talk about tailgating, I'm not just talking about, when you drive too closely behind another car. I'm talking about that kind of thing that Americans do at sports events outside of sports stadiums or anywhere else where they can park it, and they just casually light a barbecue and drink beer.
You guys don't do that? I swear I felt like almost every country that loved football,
sports and stuff like that.
Yeah, I don't know why I just assumed that was just like something most countries that had a lot of pride in sports did.
No, I guess maybe there's
not
there's not the space for the people to park like that, like how there is at a lot of football things and other stuff. Yeah.
And I mean, they look fun. It's just I've never been invited to one, so pity me. Come on, feel sorry for me. It's never happened. The best you're going to get outside of sports stadiums in Britain is people selling pirated DVDs. I've just realised actually those pirate DVD sellers they're probably struggling right now because A, there's a pandemic on, and B, no one uses DVDs anymore. Actually, I suppose nobody is doing our next entry, including me, so I'm going to leave this to Lawrence from Christmas to explain. Anybody that's followed my channel now for a while will know that I have feelings on free refills. In fact, I did an entire video about it. And while they are all the rage here, and of course you'll find them in most fast food outlets and other places, there is one clarification I have to make here. You will find free refills as an option in places like Subway in the United Kingdom. So in some capacity, America has exported it, but it is by no means as universal in the United Kingdom as it is in the United States. And as I've said before, I think the temptation of knowing that I could get a free cup of pop on top of the one that I've already had is what made me give up pop in the first place. So I do have that to thank America for. Of course, if you are American and you have the willpower to stay away from the free refills, more power to you. Free refills or not, Americans do like their water to be very cold, and I'm not talking about their bath water. Can you imagine having an ice bath? Do they? That is weird. But they put lots of ice in their water occasionally, and you'll find this happening in restaurants, but people will do it in the comfort of their own homes too. And this was somewhat of an alien concept to me before I moved to the US. I think maybe it's...
I think most other cultures just drink like room temperature water.
I feel like in Europe, yeah, but if you go to Asia, especially
they love
Southeast,
warm water. They love room and warm. Yeah.
I feel like they have ice.
Yeah, but they love...
Because of how hot it gets over there.
Yeah, but they drink room temperature water, like normally.
But their coffee's iced there too. Most of it.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know. Yeah.
I feel like it is.
Because we live in a mildish climate in Britain, we don't feel the need to do that. And the water in Britain tends to come out of the tap quite cold anyway, so that usually suffices. But actually, I have come to appreciate this one, because during the summertime in Chicago, or previously where I lived in Indiana, it gets very, very hot. Sometimes it can get over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And if you go out for a run in that weather, and that's not me, I don't run, but if you do, you're going to perspire like crazy, right? So not only do you need just water in general, it is nice to have it with ice in it because it cools you down.
One of us. Just kidding. It's like once you go to ice drinks, you can't go back.
It's ice cold, and you're catching your breath because it's going so dry from all the heat. They'll even buy bags of ice here in America. You can actually buy bags of ice from the store, and I still don't know why people do that. I know because you have ice trays and you put them in the freezer. Am I missing something?
We buy them for coolers, guys. If you have a cooler and you're going to the beach or somewhere, on a hike, anything, you just fill the ice with all your goodies in there and it keeps everything cold.
You have ice for a party.
Oh, right. Like a tailgating party, or just generally a party?
Any party.
Any party.
He just really wants to go to a tailgate.
Or winter.
Who has ice in the winter? I mean, in the drink.
Floridians?
That's true. Is it even winter in Florida, though, when it's winter here?
Yes, but no.
Not the same. This one seemed really strange for the first few months of living in America. People going out to the store in their pajamas and sweatpants and things like that. It's as if they don't care about what they look like while, traversing Walmart, which I can understand. It's not really something you would find back in Britain. I'm not saying we dress our Sunday best to go shopping, but we at least make an effort, put on jeans and a t-shirt, You will see people going out in their gym jams, their jammies, PJs, right? And I'm not exempt from that, especially right now. I mean, I don't care I want people to avoid me, so of course I go out in my pajamas or anything. I went out in this the other day. These aren't my pajamas. That's just me looking at a dime store.
If I saw that, I'd be like, "Fuck!" Like I'd run. I'd be like, "He's gonna start shooting."
Well, this was during COVID too, so that explains why he was covering his face.
No, I know, but that's the way it looks.
Funny.
It just looks so
his
fucking
eyes.
Sith Lord, but nonetheless a Sith Lord.
Awesome.
And I suppose in many ways it speaks to that American tendency toward comfort. But this is not just a pandemic era thing. I mean, people have been doing this for centuries, probably.
Pajamas?
Yeah.
I feel like that started in the 90s.
So there weren't people going in the 19th century going out with their sort of sleeping.
Guys, I don't know about this because I see it so much now, but when we were in high school, people were not wearing pajamas out in public and stuff. From my memory, like.
It's true. They were wearing jeans and the polo shirts and stuff.
People were so snotty about branded clothing.
I feel like it happened more recent.
In the early 2000s. But over the past, I would say 10 years or so, that's for sure when I've seen people being super
not caring as much, yeah.
Cap on and things like that to their local blacksmiths or whatever. That's it. Thank you for watching this episode of Lost in the Pond. Don't forget to follow me right here on YouTube so that my videos don't get lost in the pond. What are you laughing at? I know it looked like a crotch chop. I didn't mean to do that. Anyway, so if you liked what you saw here, follow me on Twitter at LostInThePondUS. You'll get a lot of these sort of weird factoids about my life here in America. Oh, and also what you heard in this video, I talk to my patrons about all the time on our secret live stream. If you want to be a part of that community and if you want to get the lowdown before anybody else, why not become a patron of this channel and help support us, help us grow? You can do so at patreon.com/LostInThePond. That's it. Stay home, stay safe, and stay smiling at strangers on your Zoom.
It reminds me of, what's his face?
Ricky Gervais.
Yes.
Yeah, he does a lot. He does actually, yeah, that's a great point. No, that was
and
interesting.
not just because he's British.
Those
He
things
actually
were
kinda has
true.
the same mannerisms.
Yeah,
Anyway,
those things were pretty true, I will say.
yeah.
If there's any other ones that you can think of, drop them in the comments below.
Yep. And that's it.
Like and subscribe, guys, okay?
And
Jump
go
over to our
follow
vlog channel.
channel.
All right, we'll see you on the next one.